Let's go.
Oh, we're
Let's
live.
go. We're live. We're live. Liddy! All right. I'm feeling great. If you're not feeling good, well, I'm going to make you feel good today. That doesn't sound good, but whatever. You get what I'm saying. I'm in a good mood, all right? I'm in a good mood. I got my wine. If you don't have any alcohol or juice or whatever, go get it. There's going to be an amazing podcast today. I mean, it's always good, but today's going to be extra good because it's live 33, and 33 is a powerful number. I don't know if you guys know about numerology, but 33 is like one of the most esoteric numbers, and I'm very superstitious, and I believe today's going to be an amazing podcast, no matter what. All right. What's up? Okay. I see you looking around. He's like, esoteric?
Nah. Just
Laz is actually really esoteric, guys. He actually got me into it because I was more of a spiritual green witch type thing, and he got me into it. So, before we begin, subscribe, like, and share. To anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Mary Ann, but I go by Mary Truth Talks, and I have a Instagram, Mary_Truths, and TikTok, same thing, Mary_Truths with an S, and Marianne as in Marin. I never really say my legal name, but I'm going to start saying it because I really like my name. It's Hebrew. I'm not Jewish, but I do believe that in a past life I was definitely probably a slave or something, because the movie Prince of Egypt, I really connect to that movie and I have to watch it like at least once every year. So yeah, I don't know. I just felt like I had to say that. So yeah, if you don't know my personal name, it's Marianne. Okay, so let's begin. Oh, before I forget, we have a Patreon. It's called Mind Body Elevation. We're changing it up. It's going to be MBE org for organization, because we are teaming up with other people, and they're going to help us build a website. So I'm very excited about that. I will be marketing that as well. But if you like the show, if you enjoy what we have to say here, and you want to invest in us in order for us to invest in you, subscribe to our Patreon. It's $5 a month. And not only are you subscribing to this channel on a monetary base, but at the same time, you are subscribing to the MBE mindset, which is just elevating the mind and body in order to elevate the life. All right, so let's begin. I'm so excited. All right, so Liberation Day happened. I think it was April 3rd, and I'm still high off of it because the media and the Democrats are losing their shit, and it's very entertaining to watch. So, and I couldn't put everything on here because remember I limited the stories, but we're still gonna get into it. So we got Liberation Day. Happy Liberation Day to everybody. So that's tariffs. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about how Democrats have no leader, vision, or conviction, and how I have proof of that. And then Kamala Harris is back. Unfortunately.
Ew.
I know. I thought she was going to go away, but I guess she got tired of drinking and she's back. So,
Well, like they forced her back onto the
yeah,
people.
probably. I mean, I think she's running for governor of California. So, there's that. NYC mayor gets red pilled. We'll talk about that. And then Doge updates. We're going to talk about that. The Doge updates are pretty insane. But we're going to talk about everything in detail. All right, guys. Let's start with the tariffs. My favorite topic ever. Okay, so last live, I gave my prediction on tariffs. And so far, I'm being proved correct, which is pretty sad because I'm an average person, average Joe. Technically nobody. I am creating a digital print online, but I'm still nobody. I'm not an influencer or whatever. And yet I'm being proven correct over these experts or whatever. So let's take a look at Secretary of Commerce, which is a billionaire tech guy. I really like him. And I'm going to react to this lady. What is this? Is this MSNBC?
No, it's called Face the Nation.
Yeah, but Face the Nation is part of...
Oh, I have no idea.
I think it's MSNBC.
Oh, CBS.
CBS? Okay.
Yeah.
Same shit. All right, so let's take a look at that. We're going to react to this.
Shaping up to...
Oops.
I want to react to it in the, throughout the video. And then we'll react fully afterwards. Just want to clear you up.
Yeah, just let me know when to stop.
Okay. Ready.
It is shaping up to be another turbulent week as President Trump's trade war with the world escalates. The global sell-off triggered by President Trump's tariff announcements wiped out more than $6 trillion of wealth from the U.S. stock market in just 2 days. In a social media post yesterday, the president urged the country to hang tough. All this as tens of thousands of people took to the streets yesterday from Washington, D.C. to Minnesota and Columbus, Ohio, protesting many of Trump's policies, Elon Musk, and tariffs. We begin this morning with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Mr. Secretary, welcome to Face the Nation.
Great to be here.
We see about 60% of Americans have money in the stock market, which mean that retirees could be just as concerned as hedge fund managers this morning. Did you expect this level of shock in the financial markets?
Well, you've got to realize this is a national security issue. I mean, we don't make medicine in this country anymore. We don't make ships. We don't have enough steel and aluminum to fight a battle. Right? All our semiconductors are made overseas, so every button we press when we try to start our car or even use our microwave, these are all semiconductors. They're all made elsewhere. We've got to start to protect ourselves, and we've got to stop having all the countries of the world ripping us off. We have a $1.2 trillion trade deficit, and the rest of the world has a surplus with us. They're earning our money. They're taking our money.
Right.
And Donald Trump has seen this, and he's going to stop it. So it is going to be a big change. Of course it's going to be a big change, but the rest of the world has been ripping us off for all these many years. Donald Trump has seen it. He's spoken about it.
I understand
and he's just
that.
not going to take it anymore, and that's his model.
And that was abundantly clear during the presidential campaign, how much the president truly believes in tariffs and putting him at the center of his economic policy. But you saw absolute panic in the global markets. Did you expect that, or were you surprised?
No, I think the point is you need to reset the power of the United States of America and reset it against all our allies and our enemies alike. The idea that all the countries of the world can run trade surpluses with America and buy our things with us. Remember, $1.2 trillion. In 1980, we were a net investor, meaning we owned more of the rest of the world than they owned of us.
Yeah, it's a different world. It's a different market.
And now they own $18 trillion of us net.
Yep.
So that means the rest of the world, every year when we run a $1.2 trillion deficit, the rest of the world buys $1.2 trillion of America, and it goes up and up and up, and eventually we're not going to own America, and we are going to be owned by the rest of the world. Imagine if we had a war and we can't build a ship, we can't fly a plane, we can't build our own planes, we don't have our own semiconductors. This is what the president is here to fix for America. It's in his hands, and he wants to fix America. This is his chance to fix America, and we need him to fix it for our children and our grandchildren.
Okay,
really quick,
but
stop it.
for
I'm not in the... Are you going...
Huh?
That I'm not showing up.
Yeah, you're showing up.
I'm showing up?
Now you are.
I
Yeah.
can't see...
Yeah, it's delayed.
Oh, no. I'm saying like the little me on the thing is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Well, I'm trying something new.
Okay. I just wanted
to not
to...
have to crop and then resize every time, like Jesse said.
Got it. Okay. All right.
We'll see how that works out.
Okay. Dale. Let's keep going.
Well, you're on.
No. I'm saying the video.
Oh.
Yeah, I just wanted
businesses to do what you're doing, because what I hear you laying out there is a plan to reindustrialize the United States and to bring companies back to America. For a CEO to choose to invest.
Well said.
But for a CEO to make those decisions, you know this, they need certainty. They need to know if it costs them more to stay overseas or if it costs them more to move here.
Why would it cost them more to
can you
move
give
here?
them clarity so that they don't just cut jobs because they're dealing with the cost of these tariffs? Can you tell them how long they're staying in place?
Absolutely. The United States of America is going to protect the people who invest in America. Trillions and trillions of dollars, you heard the president speak about it, are coming to invest in America. This is the economy of the world. We are the consumer of the world, and companies need to build it here, and we will protect them for building it here.
Okay,
we will
so
help the American workers. Yes, American workers are more expensive, but they're better. We're going to protect all the factories that come to America, and that's what's coming here. So
okay,
the president
is the 10% tariff
He's going to
permanent?
protect them. Well, remember, this is a national security issue.
I got it.
And
Is the
he
10%
needs to address
tariff
our budget
permanent?
deficit. That, you know, the laws of America are the laws of America. He would like it to be that we need to protect the companies that invest here, and we are going to protect the companies that invest here. That is the policy of the United States of America. That's why trillions of dollars are coming here. The ripoff of the United States of America is over. All these companies are going to come and invest here. That's what they're doing. That's why they've committed trillions of dollars. They know this is the economy.
Mr. Secretary,
this is the place to go.
Mr. Secretary, the campaign's over. You won. So I'm asking what the plan is. So the Treasury Secretary said on another network, we're going to hold the course. It's not the kind of thing you can negotiate away in days or weeks. That makes it sound like the tariffs are staying in place at least for days or weeks. Is that correct? Or is the president considering postponing implementation to negotiate?
Why would you do that?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just put you back on there. I don't like this way.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? Put me on big screen really quick, and then you can
I just put you on small screen.
No, I know. I saw you, but put me on big screen because I want to react to this really quick. Okay, so I want everybody to pay attention to the way this woman is reacting. Clearly, she is triggered by the tariffs, and she's not even acting like a neutral news anchor, which is her job, by the way, is to be neutral on anything and everything. And she's obviously emotionally upset about what's going on right now, which also proves that, which I'm going to get to in detail, she is part of the 1% who's losing money in the stock market right now. She is being affected by this, and you can clearly see it in the way she is treating the Secretary of Commerce, which to me is kind of disrespectful, because it's like, first of all, this guy he has an extremely important position. Why are you talking to him like if he's if he's not in the position he's in? Oh, you're not running, you're not campaigning anymore. What? There was no necessity to even have to say that. Why are you being salty? She's being salty because she's losing money. She's part of that 1% that's losing money, and she is mad that they're focusing on Main Street, meaning me, you. We're Main Street. That's Wall Street. She is a part of Wall Street, and she's literally losing her shit on live television because of the fact that she's losing money. And it's obvious to anybody paying attention that she's obviously a part of the 1%. I mean, this lady probably makes millions of dollars doing this. I don't know why CBS would want to pay her that much money, but nonetheless, that's what they're paying her. Okay, let's continue on really quick, because I have more to say about that.
Okay. Ooh.
Oh, man.
Little technical difficulties here.
Oh.
There we go.
Okay.
We got it.
There is no postponing. They are definitely going to stay in place for days and weeks. That is sort of obvious. The president needs to reset global trade. Everybody has a trade surplus, and we have a trade deficit. We are paying away our future and our lives. The countries of the world are ripping us off, and it's got to end. The president has made it crystal clear. This is the policy we are going to protect. The factories that come build in America, we are going to protect them. They're going to be successful. That's why they're going to build in America, the greatest economy in the earth. All of these companies are going to come and build here.
So when three of the president's other economic advisors who are on other networks today say that 50 different countries have been calling the White House to try to talk about the tariffs, what does that mean? because that makes it sound like there is a negotiation, which is different from saying the tariffs are permanent.
How does it make it sound like there's a negotiation? That just means they're panicking.
Well, what it shows is that all these countries know that they've been ripping us off.
Exactly.
And the day has come for that to end.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is, it's not just tariffs. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, Vietnam said they'd like to be 0-0. Remember, Vietnam sends us $120 billion worth of goods every year.
Yes,
and
cheap
we send
manufacturing.
them about $12 billion. Wait, we send them $12 billion. So it's not the tariffs. It has nothing to do with tariffs. If they went to 0-0, they would go to 200 billion with us. We need to stop the ripoff, and 0-0 is the way
I
to
know,
make
but we
a
don't have
more of a
0-0, sir.
ripoff.
We don't have 0-0, actually, because when we saw the president stand in the Rose Garden holding up that chart that you helped make, that wasn't actually tariffs. That was actually confusing to investors because it was some kind of other formula. And the
Pause.
countries themselves seemed kind of random. Like, why are the herd and McDonald Islands, which don't export to the United States and are quite literally inhabited by penguins, why do they face a 10% tariffs?
Pause. Okay. She's speaking for investors. She literally said, oh, but investors are confused. Who gives a fuck what investors think? You are a anchor, lady. Why are you speaking for investors? That proves that you are literally investing in Wall Street and you don't give a damn about the little guy. You don't care about the middle class people. This is not even like it doesn't even go deeper. This is just surface level about what's going to happen next, okay? But she's literally, all she's doing is speaking on behalf of Wall Street and the 1%. That is it. She's speaking on behalf of the 83 billionaires that donated and campaigned for Kamala Harris. Those are the people she's defending. Those are the people that she's like, oh, but what about them? Fuck them. Fuck them. It's time we start caring about us, not them. And that's what Donald Trump is doing. I don't know why this is so fucking hard for people to understand. Like, and even the idiots that are like us, that are protesting, oh my God, this is ruining my 401k, which I'm gonna get to that too, because that's also bullshit. Again, you are rooting for the rich to not lose money. That is what you're doing. Like, I don't understand why this is so fucking complicated, but apparently it is. Sorry, I had to get fucking nasty because she pisses me off. But we have to continue listening to this crap. All right, come on, I'm ready.
Did you use AI to generate this?
Oh my God, bro.
No, the idea is
Why
there
are they
no
on the
countries
list?
left off. Because the idea, what happens is, if you leave anything off the list, the countries that try to basically arbitrage America go through those countries to us. Any country, like we had tariffs, the president put tariffs on China, right, in 2018, and then what China started doing is they started going through other countries to America.
Right.
They just built through other countries through America. And so the president knows that, he's tired of it, and he's going to fix that. So basically he said, look, I can't let any part of the world be a place where China or other countries can ship through them. So he ended those loopholes, these ridiculous loopholes. And now what he's trying to say is, I'm going to fix the trade deficit of the United States of America. It's a national security issue. We need to make medicine. We need to make semiconductors. We need to make ships. We need to have steel and aluminum. Come on. We need the greatness of America to actually be built in America. And he's tired of getting ripped off by the rest of the world.
Okay, but just to be clear, April 9th, the so-called retaliatory tariffs, the reciprocal tariffs, I should say.
Yo, what's up, Jose? Welcome to the chat.
Bro, Jose, you're gonna see me get really upset today, in a good way and a bad way at the same time. Good because I'm like pumped, but bad because these people really they really grind my gears. Okay, let's continue.
That's what they're paid to do.
They're not supposed to be paid to do that. They're supposed to be educating. Nice. They're supposed to be educating us on on news. They're not supposed to be trying to piss us off. But whatever. I guess the news now, that's what it's supposed to do. And that's thanks to Obama, by the way. He's the one who legalized propaganda. All right, let's continue.
Are those coming, or are they open to negotiation?
Of course, she wants to be.
The tariffs are coming. He announced
Okay.
it,
Yes.
and he wasn't kidding. The tariffs are coming.
he
Of
ain't fucking
course
around,
they
bro.
are.
Okay. Is the administration
find out.
considering any kind of offset, any kind of subsidy? You mentioned the first administration, there was some bailout to farmers to help them deal with the pain from Chinese retaliation. Are you looking at that now?
Not that I have not participated in any meetings with respect to that. The country is focused on, you realize trillions of dollars of factories are going to be built in America. That's huge GDP. The factories being built in America are huge.
That takes
GDP.
years, and you've said
that
that
is going to
robots
That's
are
not
matter
going
going
to
to
fill
take years.
those
We have
jobs.
AI now, you fucking
So those
retarded.
aren't
No, it's
union
really automated
worker
look,
jobs.
Exactly. It's gonna be automated.
Factories,
Gosh, you're so
automated
stupid.
factories. But the key
much
is
is this bitch kept
who's
paying,
going to
bro?
build the factories, who's going to operate the factories, who's going to make them work. Great American workers. You know,
You
we are
said
going
robots
to replace
on other
the
networks. You said
armies
that to
of
Fox.
millions of people. Well, remember the
And who's gonna
army
be the
of
one controlling the
millions and millions
robots?
of human
Oh my
beings
God, que
screwing in
estúpida.
little screws to make
Oh my God,
iPhones.
Latifah.
That kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade craft of America, is going to fix them, is going to work on them. They're going to be mechanics, there's going to be HVAC specialists, there's going to be electricians. The trade craft of America are high school educated Americans. The core to our workforce is going to have the greatest resurgence of jobs in the history of America to work on these high-tech factories, which are all coming to America. That's what's
Are
going
you
to build
concerned
our
that-
next generation of America.
Are you concerned in the time it will take for a company to move to America that it will benefit China in the immediate term, that other markets will look to other suppliers instead of dealing with the
No,
United
because
States?
we are literally the market.
That is ridiculous. The problem is everyone in the world sells to us.
Exactly.
Our economy is the consumer of the world. We are the only one with a trade deficit. The rest of the world has a trade surplus. Why does Europe have a trade surplus? Is there something about Europe that's special? Seriously, are they a different world than we are? Why are they selling $200 billion a year?
Mr. Secretary.
More to us. It's because it's not fair. The rules are made not fair, and President Trump is going to fix them,
All right,
and he's
that's
doing
it.
it for America. And
All right, we get it. Okay, so I'm fully in. I'm
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. All right, so before we get into JD Vance and that interview with JD Vance, we're only gonna watch a little bit of JD Vance, and then we're gonna get into some other stuff. So the argument that they're making is, oh, the stock market is down, so because the stock market is down, these tariffs obviously aren't going to work because the stock market is down. As if the stock market is what measures the wealth and prosperity of the country. And that's the problem, that we've been measuring the prosperity of this country by the, what is that, F1, 100 or whatever, those companies that are super rich. Jose, help me out here. I know you know what I'm talking about.
FRP?
F4.
Is it FRP?
I don't know what it's called.
500, I think. FRP,
Yeah,
500?
the Fortune 500
Oh.
companies. There's a name for that. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. They're measuring the prosperity and wealth of the country by those companies. If those companies are doing good, oh, everybody's doing good. We're doing great. That's why for 4 years under Biden, when we were saying, dude, we cannot pay for steak. It's too expensive. We cannot do this. We cannot do that. We can't
Are you
buy-
talking about Fortune 500?
Yeah, but it has another name.
I don't know.
F whatever. Okay, doesn't matter. Yes, you see, Jose, you're awesome, bro. It's like
S&P.
He can like read my mind and shit. It's crazy. S&P 500. Thank you. Yes. So they measure the wealth of the country by literally how much money those companies are doing, and that just shows you they don't give a shit about the middle class at all. They don't care, because the middle class, there's no. Like, who cares what they're doing? If I'm not doing well and they're doing well, you're going to be like, well, who cares about you? They're doing well. And that's what matters. No, what matters is the middle class. Because when you start not caring about the middle class, that's when socialism rises, from the darkness. That's when the young people start getting brainwashed with socialism. And they start saying, we need to tax the rich. Well, of course, they're going to say that when the media is literally pushing this fucking narrative that the only way to measure wealth is by looking at how much money the rich are making, instead of looking at how many jobs are being created by small businesses. That would make more sense. Or how many houses are middle class people able to buy? Or what's the cost of eggs? Or what's the cost of gas? Because the rich don't use any of that shit. The rich, I promise you, that lady does not do her own groceries. So she has no fucking idea that steak was $40 a pop for 4 years. Because she makes so much money that she does not have to go grocery shopping. It does not hurt her to see milk almost $10.
Yeah, skirt steak was like literally $40, $45, $50.
Okay.
About 2 years ago, a year ago. It was pretty bad.
Like
you pretty much were just like left with either chicken or pork.
Yeah, if he didn't want to spend $40 on steak, I didn't.
Like
he
on
didn't.
2 slabs, not even like a lot of steak, just like on 2 slabs of steak. It was.
And if you wanted to save
bad.
money, you have to go to freaking BJ's or Costco. And here in Miami, there's not many of those. So you already know, all the middle class people go there. So the lines are ridiculous. You're stuck there all day just trying to literally pay for your shit. I'm not gonna literally do groceries in 10 minutes and wait 3 hours to pay for my groceries. That's ridiculous. So the fact that they literally don't care about the middle class shows with the way they're reacting about the fact that the 1% has lost. Oh my God, there's $1 trillion have been wiped out of the market. Okay, so what? Sucks to be them. I don't care. Oh, but what about those who have 401ks? Can you look up really quick? I know ChatGPT is probably going to bullshit this, but Tim Pool made a really good point about this. I'm glad he did because I was going to look it up anyway. Look up how many Americans have a 401k. It's not even 50%. It's not even 40%. But regardless, I want ChatGPT to just to prove my freaking point here about the narrative that they're pushing ain't gonna stick. I mean, it shouldn't stick to anybody if you're a critical thinker. This is a channel for critical thinkers. If you actually are observing, if you're actually paying attention, if you're actively listening, then you shouldn't be freaking out about this. Straight up.
Well, it says approximately 42% of Americans are actively participating in a 401k.
What's the approximately? That's what they're saying?
Yeah, approximately 42% of Americans.
So what's 40% in that's like what? I'm thinking of it in terms of like when for people to see
like amount of people?
Like 40% would be what? Like 3
you're talking about
like put it in
I mean, it's almost half the population, so.
But it's the way you're wording. How did you word it? Because the way Tim worded it is he noticed that it lied. It didn't give him the actual numbers. How did you word that?
I just asked how many Americans have a 401k in percentage. Like in percentages.
In percentage, 40K? I mean, 40%?
Yeah, 42%.
Okay, whatever. Okay, so let's just go with 40% because the way he did it was different. I think he did it in a different way where it gave him different numbers. I think he came up with like 2/3 or something like that. Okay, 40%. Let's say that's almost half, but it's not half. It's 40%. And in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot of people that are on 401ks. And those people that are on 401ks are working for corporations. So what about those who are not working for corporations? What about those people? Those people don't matter? This is where I'm at with this. We're favoring big corp over small business. We're favoring big corp over middle class. The middle class people that are on 401ks, I don't even know what you're freaking out about. I have a 401k. Laz is a 401k. That's not that's not all we have. But like, if you have a 401k, first of all, you shouldn't even be relying on only that because the stock market goes up and down all the time. But in the grand scheme of things, if you look at from like 5 years ago, the stock market until now, there's not much of a difference. So this dip that everybody's freaking out about, it's not even a big dip. It's not even serious. And again, it's going to go up. So people are literally freaking out over nothing. Absolutely nothing. Especially because guess what? Gas is going down. Price of X is going down. Price of steak is going down. I think we went to Winn-Dixie. What was the price of steak?
It went from
45
to basically like 20, more than half.
So what are we talking about? So because the rich pulled out, that's what happened. The rich pulled out, so people that have 401ks are freaking out because their stock prices are lower. Guess what? The rich pulled out because, this is my theory, they're pissed that for once we have a president that doesn't give a fuck about the rich. And he is rich.
For once we have a guy who's not just a talking head, he actually says what he does.
Because Obama
does what he says.
All this, oh my God, the middle class, we care about the middle class. That's why we have to do the ACA Act and we have to give them, we have to give them affordable health care. But he didn't give a shit about the middle class in reality because he bailed out banks. He didn't give a shit about the middle class. So when an actual president, which ironically is a billionaire, says, fuck you to the billionaires, I'm focusing on the middle class, all of a sudden now the elites in the big media and the Democrats are losing their shit about this. Oh my God, you see, he doesn't care about the middle class because the 401ks are going down as if the stock market is not going to go up again. It is. Look at what happened during COVID. Shit tanked. That was a real dip. COVID was a real fucking dip. And what happened? It went back up again. In fact, this is why I think this is all like bullshit. All right, check it out. So during the 4 years of Biden, we had inflation, right? Steak was $40 a pop. Okay. So when we had inflation, what happens to assets like the stocks and real estate? It inflates in price. And we're still seeing it now, but not as much as before. So a house that in reality costs $300,000 is being sold for $600,000 with no fixes whatsoever because inflation is a thing now. So now I can sell my house for fucking double the price, and people are gonna buy it for whatever reason. I still don't understand why you would buy a house that's really worth $300,000, but you're buying it for $600,000. Why would you do that? It's a terrible investment. But whatever, people will do it. It is what it is. So the people that had a lot of money, which are the elites, literally made a shit ton of money under the Biden-Harris administration because they created inflation under the Inflation Reduction Act. Ironic, they literally pumped a shit ton of money into the market, inflated all the prices. Who benefited from that? Hello, the rich did. That's who benefited from that. So now we're going through a deflation, and now the people that benefited from the inflation are crying and whining because now they lost the money that they had gained. Well, sucks to be you, because at the end of the day, you have plenty of money to survive no matter what. The middle class don't. And that's the reality. If we continue to go on the route that we're going, if Kamala Harris, bruh, people don't understand. Everybody who voted for Kamala Harris, I'm going to bring it up right now. You literally voted for more inflation. What the fuck did you think was going to happen if that bitch would have been in power and she would have, you get 20K, you get 20K, everybody gets 20K to buy a house. Hello? That's only going to inflate the prices of a house. So that house that was $300K and it's not going to be $600K. It's going to be $1 million for a fixer-upper. Okay? That's what that would have caused. Thank God a good chunk of people were like, yeah, nah, we're not going to fall for that. And we voted for Trump. mind you, I didn't vote for Trump the first time. I didn't vote, well, actually, to be fair, I didn't vote period the first time or the second time. I voted the third time for him. So I'm not a hardcore Trumper. I woke up the second time around because the first time around, I was just focusing on making money. The second time around is when I realized, oh shit, like this is for real. Like what I've been learning about Marxism, which by the way, I learned about Marxism when I was studying politics in FIU before I decided to drop out because they were trying to screw me. I realized in Biden's administration that Marxism had infiltrated itself into our country. And that's been happening way before I realized, obviously, but I came to that realization on my own 4 years ago. And then I started talking about it publicly because I was just like, yeah, like, I feel like I need to talk about it because this is important. You know, I don't think there's enough people talking about it, to be honest with you. We need more people talking about it because there's way too many people that are still asleep. There's way too many people, and we're gonna bring that up soon. But let's get into Vice President. He handled this so well, bro. This guy, man, I really hope he comes in after Trump because he's really good.
Vance is in position. He's ready to be interviewed by our Lawrence Jones. Lawrence?
Hey, Lawrence.
All right, thanks, family. Let's bring in the Vice President. Vice President J.D. Vance, thanks so much for joining Fox and Friends this morning.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
So the last time we had a one-on-one was in your house. So you weren't Vice President yet.
Right.
You were auditioning. You were the only candidate that said if you didn't get selected, you would be disappointed. Well, you got accepted. So congratulations, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you.
Let's talk about some of the issues that matter to the American people.
Sure.
And it's the president's new tariff policy. And when I think about what he got elected on is bring the cost down for people, but also bring manufacturing back to the country.
That's right.
These are gonna kind of hit each other, right? Explain to us how you get manufacturing here, but also get the cost down for the American people.
Well, if you go back a little bit, Lawrence, remember during the first Trump administration, everybody said that Trump's tariffs were going to be inflationary back then. What actually happened? We had 1.5% inflation. We had the fastest growing economy in a generation, and we had the beginning of a manufacturing renaissance in the United States of America. Then, of course, we had 4 terrible years of the Biden administration. But I think it's useful for all of us to step back and ask ourselves, what has the globalist economy gotten the United States of America? And the answer is fundamentally it's based on 2 principles: incurring a huge amount of debt to buy things that other countries make for us. And to make it a little bit more crystal clear, we borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture. That is not a recipe for economic prosperity. It's not a recipe for low prices, and it's not a recipe for good jobs in the United States of America. For 40 years, we have gone down that pathway. We've seen closing factories. We've seen rising inflation. We've seen the cost of housing so high that most Americans can't afford to buy a home right now. President Trump is taking this economy in a different direction. He ran on that, he promised it, and now he's delivering. And yes, this is a big change. I'm not going to shy away from it, but we needed a big change, Lawrence. We cannot keep going down the Joe Biden globalist pathway where we have $2 trillion of peacetime debt and deficits. We have manufacturing disappearing. That is not working for Americans. We've got to take this country in a different direction.
Mr. Vice President, there does seem to be a disconnect. You see Wall Street in the media and the markets, and they're freaking out right now.
Yep.
But then I look at those workers that were in the Rose Garden yesterday, and they're celebrating. I think about all the diners that I've done across the country, and all these businesses saying we've lost manufacturing here, and they're celebrating the move. What is the disconnect between the market and the people, those workers that are cheering this on right now?
Well, I think on one hand, frankly, a lot of people have gotten rich from American jobs moving overseas, but American workers have not gotten rich. And frankly, American companies have not gotten wealthy from the increasing growth of foreign competitors manufacturing overseas. As the president says, Lawrence, these foreign companies, they charge us ridiculous tariffs. They engage in a lot of non-tariff practices like currency manipulation. That has been awful for Main Street in the United States of America. It's meant those diners, their customers, don't have jobs anymore. It meant those great steel mills, those great auto plants have closed down and their workers have been laid off. What I saw yesterday in the Rose Garden was incredible enthusiasm, because a lot of those workers, they've been working hard for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Young and old were in the Rose Garden yesterday. They've never had a president who stood up for their jobs and stood up for American prosperity. They finally see something has shifted. There were Democrats out there, Republicans. There were union and non-union workers alike. They know this is a big change, but we need a big change in this country, because what we've done, what we did under the Biden administration, it just wasn't working.
So, Mr. Vice President, I know a lot of MAGA folks, a lot of Americans that are cheering the president on, especially when he takes it to other countries.
Sure.
They feel like we've been screwed for a long time.
Yep.
But I also know people that come from our background, they're living paycheck to paycheck.
Of course.
And they want to do the patriotic duty of taking it to these other countries, but it's going to hit them a little bit. They feel. What can you tell the American people that they just can't afford an extra $3 here and there about the government making up the difference from that? Will costs go up at some point? Will this just be temporary? Are we talking 3 months or 6 months?
Well, we certainly hear, and I appreciate, how I grew up.
I know.
I grew up in a family that often did live paycheck to paycheck, and we know a lot of Americans are worried. So we are fighting very hard to bring prices down. We're going to have the biggest deregulation in the history of this country. We're doing a lot of things and already have done a lot of things to lower the cost of energy. You heard the president mention this yesterday. Eggs, when we came in, were at a 10-year high, and all of a sudden they've dropped 60% just in the 2 months of the Trump administration. What I'd ask folks to appreciate here is that we are not going to fix things overnight.
Yeah.
Joe Biden left us, this is not an exaggeration, Lawrence, with the largest peacetime debt and deficit in the history of the United States of America, with sky-high interest rates. You don't fix that stuff overnight. We know people are struggling. We're fighting as quickly as we can to fix what was left to us, but it's not going to happen immediately. But we really do believe that if we pursue the right deregulation, we pursue those energy cost-reducing policies, yes, people are going to see it in their pocketbook. They're also going to benefit from the fact that foreign countries can't take advantage of us anymore. That means their jobs are going to be more secure.
I don't think you can talk about this, the tariffs, and not talk about the tax cuts as well that we're expecting. Is this to offset some of the cuts that we plan on expecting? Will this be a permanent measure, or are we thinking when it comes to the scoring of this bill, we're going to be able to get cuts as a result of this?
I wouldn't think of tax cuts as a way to offset the tariffs. Here's the way that I think about it is, again, for 40 years, we've had an economy that rewards people who ship American jobs overseas and raises taxes on American workers, and we're flipping that on its head. We're going to cut taxes for American workers and for American companies that build here. We're going to make it harder to ship American jobs overseas. It's a total shift in the way that we've done economic policy in the United States of America, but it was necessary. So, yeah, we're going to cut your taxes. You're going to have more money in your pocket, and that's, of course, going to help you deal with the cost of inflation. But that's not about offsetting the tariffs. They work together. We want to penalize people for shipping our jobs overseas. We want to reward hardworking Americans. It's all part of the same policy.
All right,
I want to get to some other news because there was some.
Okay. So he the way he explains it is awesome, because he explains it in a way where everybody understands, not just the rich, wealthy elites. Okay, so tariffs. Let's talk a little bit about the history of tariffs. So from 1789 to 1913, we were literally just making money off of tariffs. We had no income tax. So hopefully we can go back to that, where we just rely on solely tariffs and no income tax. So last week, I kind of did a little economic proposal, that if we were to have tariffs permanently, like we did back then, and we would tell states no more state taxes, then the federal government will have to only rely on federal income taxes, because that's part of the 16th Amendment. We can't avoid that, and tariffs. That will literally shrink the federal government by force, and very organically, because we don't need that many people anyway working in the federal government. They can work in the private sector like the rest of us. And at the same time, these tariffs, like I said last week, are A, punishing them for taking advantage of us for so many years, and B, it's gonna force them to have to lower their tariffs on us, which is already happening. So Israel just declared not too long ago that they're no longer going to be tariffing the United States. Oh, look at that. Oh my God, look at that. And Average Joe, Marianne, happens to be correct on this prediction that I literally just made last week. I literally said last week, go check it out, Live 32. If we literally use tariffs on them because we can handle the tariffs, they cannot. It's going to force them to have to negotiate a lower tariff or remove tariffs altogether. And Israel is going to be the first one to do it. Check it out. So, Laz, if you can read that for us really quick, please.
Yep. In early April 2025, Israel announced the elimination of all remaining tariffs on imports from the United States. This decision aimed to strengthen economic ties with the U.S., promote market competition, and reduce the cost of living for Israeli citizens. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu emphasized that this move would further solidify the alliance between the two nations. However, shortly after Israel's announcement of the U.S. administration under President Donald Trump imposed a 17% tariff on Israeli goods as part of the border tariff policy affecting multiple countries. This action surprised Israeli officials who had anticipated that removing tariffs on U.S. imports would prevent such measures. In response, Prime Minister Netanyahu planned a visit to D.C. to discuss the tariffs directly with President Trump.
Yeah, he's like, what are you doing? We removed the tariffs. Please don't tariff us. No, bro, because you were tariffing us for years and you were taking advantage of our consumers. So I don't give a damn if you removed your tariffs. Yeah, remove your tariffs, but I'm still going to keep my tariffs. You know, you shouldn't have tariffed us all these years to begin with. So, really quick, before we go to U.S. and China trade war, let me read really quick. Jose de Leon, people need to understand that taxing the rich doesn't help the economy at all. In fact, it hurts it. You want to give the rich tax breaks, which incentivizes them to spend money and actually. Exactly. Yes, correct. That is exactly what it does. People swear that, if you give tax breaks to companies, it makes them, it makes them greedier. No, it actually gives them the opportunity to actually give bonuses. It gives them the opportunity to increase wages to workers. That's all. That's what it does. That's the benefit of it. And it creates more expansion, which means more jobs. All right, so let's look at U.S. and China trade war. Ready?
Here we go.
Now, the Dow future is down sharply as global markets take a big hit in response to President Trump's tariffs announcements. And just moments ago, China announced plans to implement 34%
Bring it on, baby. Bring it on.
Retaliatory, thank you, tariffs on U.S. goods starting April 10th.
So senior White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich is watching all this. She's a little seasick, and she joins us now. Jackie, tell us the latest. And you have your own landscaper issues, it sounds like.
I do. I do. Brian, this market reaction was a shock to everyone, really, except for President Trump, who likened it to a scheduled medical procedure to treat a sick patient.
I think it's going very well. It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is. We have $6 or $7 trillion coming into our country, and we've never seen anything like it. The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom.
And his administration is echoing that line, even as the impacts keep coming. This morning, China announcing retaliatory tariffs of 34% effective April 10th. That, by the way, is exactly the kind of countermeasure that Treasury Secretary said would prompt escalation from the U.S., repeatedly warning against it. The president's aides maintain the strategy will work and the fallout will be short, despite recession warnings from some economists.
All right, that's it.
This will be a short time of uncertainty.
Okay, so, well, just a really quick talk about what the economists are saying, the recession warnings. I don't know what they're talking about because we've been in a recession. I don't know what they're talking about. We just went through 4 years of high inflation where people were barely able to consume as much as they were before because everything was more expensive. Like, the fact that the fact that they rely on these expert economists as if they're like gods or something, like, oh, they know what's best. Clearly not, because they don't know that we're in a recession right now. Like, people think the recession is what happened during Obama's, like, the whole 2008 recession. Yeah, that's also a recession. But what happened during 4 years was also a recession. So they're again fear-mongering. They're saying that the tariffs is going to create a recession, and they're going to look really stupid when it doesn't. And just to really quick, when it comes to China, so China has a fake economy. Because the reason why China has been able to grow so fast is because of us. To be exact, because of Nixon. Nixon went over there and said, you know, he wanted them to be democratic. That clearly didn't work. But, you know, I have nothing against Nixon for certain. But, well, there's some things I don't like about Nixon, like the war on drugs. But this is another one. He pretty much said, let's just work with China. And he pretty much opened the capitalism to China. And that benefited China. It didn't benefit us. Yeah, people were like, oh my God, yeah, we get to have cheap shit. Yeah, we also get to have cheap shit from child labor. I actually looked up the other day that China didn't stop child labor in the books, in the law books, until 1991. When was Nixon president? Can you look that up? I think it was the 60s. So from the 60s, whenever that was, until 1991, these motherfuckers were using child labor to make our stuff and sell it here while tariffing us in the process. And that's how they've been able to literally grow so fast as far as their infrastructure.
Yeah, Nixon did 1969 to 1974.
Like, so from 1969 to 1991, China was using child labor to manufacture our things and sell it to us. So all we were doing was buying things from a country that was literally going against what we believe in, which is child abuse.
I mean, they're still doing it now. It's just
but they're doing it more on the DL.
It's on the DL. Like, it's not legal anymore. You know, it's not an official thing, but
they're still doing it because China's enormous.
You got your little shady warehouses in the outskirts. You know, that still do it.
And not just that.
And it's not just China though. It's
But China's the biggest
India,
one because they're a huge manufacturing country.
Thailand, Taiwan.
So, but I'm focusing on China because they're the threat right now.
They're the biggest producers.
Yeah, they're the threat. It's not fucking Thailand or it's them. So another thing to add on to that is China's GDP is super low. Can you compare what China's GDP is to America's GDP? It's extremely low. And don't they have more people than we do? Like, look up like what their GDP is versus us and their population versus ours. They have, I think, more people than we do. But yeah, we make more money than they do. So how do they have a surplus and we have a deficit?
Okay, so according to chat, it's estimated that, well, this is back in 2024, US GDP was $29 trillion. And
theirs is like 18 or something.
19.53 for China.
So we're making more money than they are, yet their infrastructure is extremely modernized. They've been able to grow super fast compared to us. Why is it that when I go to the Miami airport, it looks like it hasn't been fixed since they built it? Like, my problem is if we're making more money than they are, why is it that it looks like they're making more money than we are? You know what I'm saying? Like his dad went to China like twice. He freaking loves China because they're so modern and everything just looks amazing. It looks like something out of a freaking sci-fi movie. But yet we're the ones making more money. So how does that make any sense? It just shows that we're making money, but we're giving our money away for free, giving our money away. And they're taking advantage of it. And they've been taking advantage of it for a very long time. And no president, Republican or Democrat, has done shit about it until this guy came along and he was like, nah, fam, something's got to change. Because if not, we will file bankruptcy. Like the part that I understand about the Democrats is they're fighting DOGE, they're fighting the tariffs, they're fighting the immigration deportations, they're fighting all the stuff that the Trump administration is doing. For what though? What is the point of you doing that? If we continue on the path the Democrats want to go on, we would literally file bankruptcy. Like, put it this way, if a company were to be as in much debt as this country is, they would have been filed bankruptcy years ago. So, and the United States is a corporation. We're not just a country. We are a business. And we need to start acting like a business. So, China can try to, do the tariffs on us. It's not going to work because we make more money than they do. And the reality is their people are going to feel it. We're not going to feel it as much. So I guess they're trying to be the big, they're trying to puff out their chest. It's not going to last. I'm predicting it's not going to last. They're going to have to bend the knee because they're going to have no choice. Same thing with Germany. Same thing with the UK. All these fucking countries have been screwing us. They're going to all bend the knee just like Israel did. And we'll see that I'm going to end up being right. And it's not about being right. It's just about the fact that I'm paying attention and other people unfortunately aren't. So let's talk about everybody that's not paying attention. Protesting all around the country apparently just a couple of days ago. Check this out. This is insane. What's up at Lockdown? Thank you for showing up.
From Washington and Boston to Texas and California, protesting President Trump's policies and billionaire Elon Musk. The rally's happening the same day that 10% tariffs on most imports took effect. These protesters in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Education, huge.
Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, veterans' rights, everything. LGBTQ
all
community.
the yes.
Everybody's threatened. And this is not the America I love. What happened to our ideals and the balance of power, the three checks and balances?
ABC's Christian Cordero was at the National Mall in Washington, D.C. That rally organized by Democratic activists.
Throughout the day today, we have seen signs that say, hands off our schools, hands off our bodies, hands off our Social Security. It seems everyone out here has a message about what they consider government overreach.
As a precautionary measure, the First Lady's office rescheduled her spring garden tours. The president on social media telling Americans, hang tough. It won't be easy, but the end result will be historic.
Yeah, they
Most
do. They have way
economists
too much
warn
time
U.S.
on their hands.
consumers should brace for higher prices and possible shortages.
I think it's still a little uncertain of exactly how that's all going to shake out, but I think initially the markets are not responding favorably to those tariffs.
The White House has yet to comment on the protests, which is estimated to have attracted at least 500,000 attendees. Johnny Fernandez, ABC News, New York.
All right, that's it. I don't care. Okay. So 500,000 people are not paying attention and are choosing to not critically think about things. That's how I see that, straight up. These are people that literally just listen to CBS, MSNBC, CNN, NBC, and they don't question absolutely jack because they can't fathom that there needs to be drastic change into the system. Like, why is it this lady, this whoever her name was, what happened to the old America? The old America needs to die, dude. I'm 29 years old and I can't buy a house right now. Why would you want this type of America? What is wrong with you? Like, that's the part that I don't understand. I'm supposed to have already owned a house by now. I'm going to hit 30. And like me, there's thousands of people.
You're gonna have to move to Texas.
Even Texas.
Yep.
Even Texas is going to end up feeling it because too many people are going to end up going to Texas. And what happens when that happens? Come on, guys. Economic 101, supply and demand. Demand goes up, value goes up, shit goes up in price. That's just how it is.
It's crazy. Everybody and their mothers wants to go to Texas.
And
Especially locals from here. Like, yeah, I'm just going to go to Texas to buy a house, 300K, 4 bedrooms. Okay, cool, bro. See you back in about 5 years.
Because it's just, I mean, they're going to have to end up going somewhere else. I mean, like, you shouldn't have to go to a different state every 10 years or 5 years or whatever because things are going up in price. That's unacceptable. What's wrong with buying a house and living in that house for as long as possible if you don't want to be an investor in buying more houses? You can't do that, dude. So put it this way.
You
Miami,
can't even live the quote-unquote American dream.
Put it this way. In Miami right now, I'm looking at the real estate market. I've been looking at it since January because I knew this was going to hit and I knew that people were going to start panicking and they were going to start selling, right, fast and selling it for less. But guess what? They're still not selling it for the actual price the house is worth. I'm seeing houses that literally need massive fixing, and they're still selling it for inflated prices because of the fact that the system right now is not working. So why are we going to just allow it to just stay how it is? No, we need to literally change it completely. Drastic changes need to happen to the system. And unfortunately, the boomers don't like change. They've been, fed propaganda for so long that they're just like, they can't handle, this change. But we need it because guess what? You're going to retire soon. I'm not. I'm a millennial. I still have years and years to go. And I want to buy a house one day. I want to have a family one day. And it's not fair that you get to have one and I don't. And that's where we're at right now. Many millennials don't give a fuck about what's going on with the stock market because guess what? We're not filthy rich. Yeah, we have 401ks, but we don't give a damn. Because at the end of the day, the 401ks, it's not we're gonna cash out. The 401ks that we got, it's not worth to cash out anything. So millennials, Gen Zs, and anybody after Gen Z, the administration is looking out for us. Because at the end of the day, we're the future of America. Boomers, sorry, you're irrelevant. We're the ones that need to be prioritized. Because at the end of the day, if we continue on the path we're going, I'm telling you right now, there will no longer be a middle class. And what the Marxists want will happen. So, I don't know about you, but I didn't leave Cuba to literally live in a bigger Cuba. Sorry. That was not the plan for my dad. My dad didn't sacrifice to come here and bring us here to have a better life for me not to be able to buy a house. Okay, that's just not acceptable. And that's why we need to have what was happening right now. We need to have drastic change. And if that means millionaires and billionaires losing a couple $1,000s, so fucking be it. All right, so let's talk about Democrats not having any leader, any vision, and no conviction. I think that rhymed. I didn't do that on purpose.
All right. Say hi to Albie's in there.
Albie's is in here, so stock market tanking as we speak is a good thing. Yes, it is, bro. It is a good thing because it doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect me. We're middle class people. It affects them, the ones who are making the shit ton of money off the stock market. It doesn't affect us. And bro, where the fuck have you been? I've been wanting to get you to come and you've been ghosting. Let's go. Let me know when you're ready because I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Futures are down 4%. Yeah, it's fine. We don't care, bro. Like, it's going to go up again. It's going to go up again, just like I did in COVID. It's going to go up again. Like, people are making a big deal out of everything. It is what it is. So, Democrats have no leader, vision, or conviction. Let's talk about that really quick.
me a sec. I was interacting with the chat.
Oh, okay.
Now we're good.
Thank the chairman.
Well, come next week, bro. You can shut light on it how you want.
Ranking member of the subcommittee, Jasmine Crockett.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And I first just want to begin with a news alert. Guess what? Joe Biden is not the president anymore.
Pause.
So maybe we can move.
I'm sorry. I just had to. Joe Biden is not the president anymore, so let's just forget about the fact that he lied to us for 4 years. Let's forget about the fact that they literally inflated the market where we couldn't afford fucking steak because it was either you pay $40 for steak or, you can't buy other things. Like, let's just forget about that and let's just move forward. No, bitch, we're going to remember what happened for 4 years. We're going to remember it because we want to avoid it ever happening again. All right, I'm ready.
Jesse says to leave your hair alone.
I am gonna let my hair.
Le pica la peluca.
Wait, what do you say? To let my hair down?
No, to leave it alone. Stop touching it so much.
Oh, sorry. It's just fucking. It's in my face, man. It's in my face. All right.
Come on, maybe we can move into the present because it seems like we are living in the past. And listen, these are not the good old days, like you used to sit around and your grandparents would talk to you about what used to happen. What we need to be talking about is how we are going to legislate because I think that some of my colleagues have confused what our jobs are. And I get that we're sitting in judiciary. And so it may seem as if we are here to be litigators, but we are here to be legislators. Which means that we are supposed to be writing laws, not trying to have our own trials and determine whether or not something is true or not, or whatever the case is, or who should be sued, who shouldn't be sued. All I know is that a great American hero, a good senator out of New Jersey, said something to the effect yesterday as he was shattering the record for holding the floor, a record that had been held by another racist in this country. As he shattered that, he said something about the fact that this should not be about left versus right. It should be about right versus wrong. And I am going to tell you,
because they're the righteous ones. They know what's right and what's wrong. Only they know what's right and what's wrong.
The reason that we are struggling right now in this country as it relates to people not trusting agencies, honestly, a lot of it is because of elected leaders. Let me tell you, one of the things that the chairman and I actually agree upon, we don't agree on a lot, is that we both know that there has been a sharp incline as it relates to threats upon our lives. Regardless of what side of the aisle you sit on, we both know and agree that as sitting members of Congress, we both are enduring more death threats than anybody should in this country. And I believe that it is because of the divisive rhetoric and it is because of the selective enforcement of things. And so when we have, and I'm gonna be clear because I had
bitch, get to the point. Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
To have the sitting attorney general.
Yeah, video's like 6 minutes long.
No,
I don't think she gets to a point till the end.
She's going to get to it now, and after that, we're done. I'm tired of listening to this fucking idiot. All right, let's go.
Go on, and I'm going to call it faux news. I know some of y'all love it, but it's fake to me.
Right, because CBS isn't.
To have her go on.
Fake like your lashes, girl.
Yeah, and her hair.
Then
she wishes she had hair like mine.
To send a threat.
That's white girl hair. That ain't her hair. Where's that weave at?
To me, it was wrong. Because here it is, she is the highest law enforcement agent in this country, and people are watching and they are consuming this information and they are believing that simply because I decided that I wanted to exercise my right to free speech, which I am not abridged from doing.
It's a big word for her.
That she then wanted to then politicize something that should not be politicized. I don't like Elon Musk. I'm going to say it 50,000 times. I don't like him. I don't like that he going out there and he firing people. I think that he's a crook because somehow the rest of us can't sit around and get whatever federal contracts we want. The rest of us can't sit around and get law enforcement and get them somehow ordained as federal law enforcement to protect him. The rest of us can't get our dealerships protected by the federal government. That is somebody that is operating above the law. For whatever reason, just because he has a lot of money, more money than everybody else. And yes, I am happy to see that on my birthday, which is what I said, there were peaceful protests around this world against him. because he is a problem. And so you never should have somebody that is sitting that high and is going to sit up here and threaten a sitting member of Congress when she knew good and well, if she watched the entire thing, that I specifically told protesters to make sure you consult with lawyers.
All right,
just like
it.
I've told protesters.
I'm done. I'm done listening to this
Oh,
dumb.
she's big
this
mad.
dumb bitch. I'm
big
done.
mad.
All right, can you put me back on the screen, please? We're almost done.
You're
here,
on.
guys. All right, cool. So I think it's funny and ironic how the same people that are whining and bitching about 401ks going down and how the wealthy just lost a couple thousand million, whatever it is, doesn't matter to them because they're wealthy anyway, it doesn't fucking matter. She's literally saying that Tesla stocks should go down. The irony is hilarious because Tesla stocks are part of 401ks. So you're rooting for 401ks to go down because you want Tesla stocks to go down in price because you don't like Elon Musk, even though, by the way, he's not the 100% owner of Tesla. He owns like 30% or something, like whatever it is, whatever the number is. It's not even 50%. It's not even half. He is not the full owner of Tesla. Yet, you know, when you think of Tesla, you think of Elon Musk because he's the marketer, but he's not the full owner of it. And this bitch is saying Tesla should go down. And I'm happy if it does. And at the same time, you're bitching and crying about the 401ks going down when people literally have Tesla in their 401k portfolio. So it's so ironic that when it comes to 401ks, in general, you don't want it to go down. You don't want the rich to lose money. You don't want people that work for big corporations to lose money. But the reality is you don't care if it's Tesla stocks. If it's Tesla stocks, it's okay. That can go down. But everything else has to stay up. I'm sorry, but it don't work like that. If you want Tesla stocks to go down, that means you want people's 401ks to go down. And that's the reality. You can't have, what is that saying? You can't have your cake and eat it too. Yeah. You can't. Sorry. If you want Tesla stocks to go down, that means you don't give a shit about people's 401ks because people's 401ks have Tesla in their damn portfolio. So that's just that. Let me really quick talk about this, about whatever's going on right now in the chat. And if you can move on to Kamala Harris, that's going to be short too because I can't stand listening to that bitch. All right. Let's see. She has better hair than me. Yes, I have real hair, unlike her. Elon is not that good, but the way they're portraying him is even worse. Yeah, it's probably heating up. Yeah, it is because of the AC. Let me see. I think Albany said something else. I'm trying to find it. I'm dying to come back on to shed light on it. Albany's, I really do want you to come on, because I mean I kind of made my point already about the stock market and how people are making a fuss out of nothing. But I want you to come back on because obviously we have different perspectives on the stock market. I don't give a fuck about Wall Street. I care about Main Street. Maybe you care more about Wall Street than Main Street, but I would assume you care about Main Street because you are part of Main Street, not Wall Street. So, but yes, I do want you to come back on. That way we can, debate on it and let the audience decide on who has a better argument. Okay, so let's move on to Kamala Harris being back. Unfortunately, she got tired of getting drunk.
When a few stand with the courage. Oh, God. That is the courage exhibited by the leaders in this room every day.
That's why she fled when she lost, because she has so much courage.
You have to have the courage to face
please.
What has been burdened.
By what has been.
By what has been.
I was like, don't pause it for too long because I don't want to hear it.
The courage to say what is happening is wrong. The courage to say that there is a way that we must chart to get through this. Understanding our power in the democracy we still have if we hold on to it.
Oh my God, this girl. This lady's
Courage
an
is
NPC,
contagious.
bro. She's an NPC.
What could have been, everyone? What could have been? That, of course, was...
Is that it?
Wait, what? I thought, no. She keeps... There's a part where she's like, I told you so.
We are seeing organizations stay quiet. We are seeing those who are capitulating.
It's a big word for her.
To
it's a big
clearly unconstitutional threats. And these are the things that we are
What was that
witnessing.
pause? She paused for way too long there. What was that?
Each day in these
I'm
last
telling you,
few
bro, this
months
bitch
and
is
after.
She was
robotic.
glitching out, bro.
She's
And it understandably creates a great sense of fear. Because, you know, there were many things that we knew would happen. Many things. I'm not here, so I told you so.
all right. That's it. I'm done. I just wanted to get to that. I told you so. And lockdown on mute. What do you mean? Who's on mute?
Oh, I think I was.
Oh, okay. Thank you for
Yeah, because
looking out.
Yeah, I get a little bit of feedback if I have my mic unmuted while I'm playing the videos because I'm too close. My mic is too close to the computer, so sometimes I have to mute it.
Yeah, he has that Frank Sinatra voice, guys. So you know what I'm saying.
And now
He's
the
really,
end is near.
he's really good. He really is.
So I fade.
Like he's naturally
That final
good
curtain.
at karaoke. It's crazy. Like I'm not as good as he is.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not. Listen, bro, relax. I'm not like that either. Why are you talking shit, bro? Why are you talking shit? But I'm not like
Because it makes
him.
you mad.
He's like a natural baritone. If you like vocal stuff, you know what baritone is. Okay. So she said.
Oh.
Has anybody?
DJ Lockdown said no. He likes
connection to Diddy. I mean, I like her voice when it's muted.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do too, bro. We do too. Trust me. But fortunately, this bitch is relevant again, so we gotta talk about her. Okay. So Kamala is saying, "I told you so, bitch. What did you tell us? Like, what? You know what's gonna be funny when we actually start booming again, like way more than what we were in his first term." Like when this country drastically changes economically for the better, they're gonna roll this clip so many times with so many memes that she's never going to probably be in cameras probably ever again. Cause it's gonna look so bad on her for saying, "I told you so." Like, bitch, I'm sorry. What did you tell us? That you were wrong? Like, you were wrong. Because let's be clear. What have we gotten so far? Cheaper gas prices, cheaper groceries, a safe border. People are actually getting deported, and more people should continue to get deported. What happened in January 6th, by the way, just to clue y'all in on this, because I'm like in it, so I'm aware of what's going to happen before it happens. What's going to happen is that January 6th are going to prove that it was exactly what we said it was, which was, an agenda to get people imprisoned illegally with no due process. American citizens were put without due process in prison, and that's going to be put on air very soon in Congress, and I cannot wait to talk about that. So just want to clue you in on that. Everything that they did for 4 years is going to come into the light. So this clip, the "I told you so," is not going to look good on her at all. And she shouldn't be saying that shit as if she knows what the fuck she's talking about, because it's only been, like 3 months since this guy's been in power. Like, the fact that she had the balls to say that is ridiculous. What were you looking at?
Yeah, because what you were talking about reminded me of when FDR pretty much imprisoned Japanese American citizens.
Yeah.
So
because of espionage.
It's called Executive Order 9066.
Yeah. Which, by the way, was, again, an executive order. There was no due process. I know my ex-friend Thomas Belleza, who tried to sabotage my couple lives ago, lied and said that there was due process, and that's a bullshit. There was no due process. An executive order is literally what it is. The president is telling people what to do, and they expect it to get it done. And by the way, during FDR's term, Supreme Court allowed him to do a lot of shit. Okay, so just cluing you in on that. Right now, that's not the case. Of course, the Supreme Court hasn't said anything to Trump yet, but district judges are trying to stop him from doing a lot of things, and that's not going to fly with the Supreme Court. But we'll get to that when it happens. Let's talk about how the NYC mayor, Eric Adams, got red-pilled. I wonder why. Maybe because they tried to imprison him for corruption. Check it out. I'm very happy that he's going
My
independent.
fellow New Yorkers, like so many of you, I grew up in a city that failed my family. My mother raised 6 children on her own, working 3 jobs.
He's a real middle class guy,
Yet,
not like Kamala Harris.
even when her hard work was met with injustice and indignity, she soldiered on. She believed in New York. She taught me that you can never do wrong by doing right. That resilient spirit is the essence of New York. And her example and the grit of everyday New Yorkers is what inspired me
I
to
like the way
public
this guy
service
speaks.
and what gives me strength today. It's a simple truth. New Yorkers are strong and they deserve strong leadership. And when New Yorkers worry about their bills at the kitchen table or feeling safe on the subway platform, they don't expect a political party to help. They want leadership from a person who understands their struggle and their story. There isn't a liberal or conservative way to fix New York, but there is a right way and a wrong way. And true leaders don't just know the right path, they have the guts to take it. I've always put New York's people before politics and party, and I always will. Some leaders choose rhetoric over results and fail to make working people their North Star. But the values of a working class base, pro-public safety, pro-worker, pro-quality of life, are still there, standing strong, even if many who share them have left the party. Those are my values, New York's values, and I will always fight for them. I had hoped to fight for them again in the Democratic primary for mayor. And more than 25,000 New Yorkers signed my Democratic primary petition. But the dismissal of the bogus case against me dragged on too long, making it impossible to mount a primary campaign while these false accusations were held over me. But I'm not a quitter. I'm a New Yorker. And that is why today, although I am still a Democrat, I am announcing that I will forego the Democratic primary for mayor and appeal directly to all New Yorkers as an independent candidate in the general election. I firmly believe that this city is better served by truly independent leadership, not leaders pulled at by the extremists on the far left or the far right, but instead those rooted in the common middle, the place where the vast majority of New Yorkers are firmly planted. I know that the accusations leveled against me may have shaken your confidence in me, and that you may rightly have questions about my conduct. And let me be clear, although the charges against me were false, I trusted people I should not have, and I regret that. But the issues I face are nothing compared to yours. Rising costs, public safety concerns, deep concerns about the future. All the candidates in this race will tell you that they have solutions to all that. You should hear them out. But you should also ask them where they were and what they did over the last 4 years to address those concerns before they were running for mayor. Some were advocating against more police, even if they are for them now. Some were fighting the pro-growth strategies of our administration. Some even sought to limit housing.
Yo, for
production.
real, dog. I'm like fucking falling asleep asking him, is he done yet?
Voted to give more of your tax dollars to other cities and towns in this state.
We get it, bro. He woke up. He woke up. What's he getting to?
Wait, he already said it?
I don't know. What were we waiting for? I was like,
did he say already
dozing
that
off?
he's ready? Okay, that's it.
Yeah. He said that like a long ass time
sorry,
ago.
Sorry, I was reading the chat.
Damn, bro. Yes, he's gonna run as independent.
Sorry, fam.
Oh my god.
I was reading the chat, man. Sorry, I was reading the chat. I was paying attention to the chat. Attention to the chat.
Even you were bored from listening to him.
I like him. I actually like, and he's a Democrat, but I like him because he's a
cool.
moderate Democrat.
That's Dr. Dre's cousin.
He is a moderate Democrat, which is what Democrats used to be in the 1990s. I don't know what the fuck happened. Obama, that's what happened. So, all right. This guy is still a Democrat and is running for independent. And I think, my prediction, just speculating, I think the reason why he's doing that is because he's going to take revenge for the Democrats for literally trying to ruin his life and put him in prison for corruption charges. And what I think is going to happen is he's not going to win as an independent because people like the whole Democrat versus Republican thing. He's not going to win as an independent. At least I don't think so. But I do think that it's going to help the Republican who's running win. This is what I think. I don't think Cuomo is going to win. I don't know if y'all remember who Cuomo is, but Cuomo literally he's the one who got caught putting dead bodies in U-Haul trucks. Remember that guy during COVID? Anybody remember him? Do you remember who I'm talking about?
No idea.
What? Dude, that shit went everywhere. How he was caught with he put a bunch of elderly people in apartments, and a bunch of elderlies died, and then those bodies were put into U-Haul trucks.
Oh,
and then the U-Haul trucks were exposed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that shit went everywhere.
Remember.
And everybody knew him because of that.
They showed us the picture because we work in U-Haul, and they showed us the pictures of the dead bodies. It was fucking crazy.
All right, so
it was real.
It was real. Okay,
it was real.
That
really
everybody knows him as that guy, which is pretty bad. So I don't think he's gonna win. His
stuff,
reputation is not good at all. Plus, for you to go from governor to mayor, you've literally demoted yourself, which is not a good look either. He's just so used to being in government that he can't just look for a private job. He has to stay in government and continue to get paid by taxpayer money. So this guy, who I actually like because he was a cop, and now he's a mayor. And even though as a mayor, he had one of the hardest jobs is to be a mayor of New York, much less to be a mayor of New York during the Biden administration when a bunch of immigrants were being flooded into New York City, and he had to literally deal with that. And he handled it really well considering. What's ironic, though, I don't know if you guys know the story, but when I think it was the third year towards the fourth year of Biden, he finally went to the press and said, yo, we need to get these illegals out of here. They're literally they're creating crime. We cannot continue to afford to keep them here and house them. It's way too expensive, and taxpayers have to literally pay for this shit. And after he said that, all of a sudden, charges were pressed on him for corruption charges. Whoa, what a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences. That shit was literally planned and premeditated. If this guy admits that what we're doing is wrong, we're going to go after him. And that's what they did. So when Trump came in, the Department of Justice, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, literally tried to remove the charges. They made a big deal about that. This is why they're so corrupted. They're trying to remove the charges. Blah, 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 when there's no proof that he was even doing corruption in the first place, but whatever. And then finally, he won the case. They removed the charges altogether. And now this guy is saying, I'm going to go independent because F you, because you almost tried to ruin my life, and I'm going to make sure I get a Republican in power. Again, me speculating. I don't know. I could be wrong. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because, I could be right, I could be wrong, but I wanted to put my predictions out there because if I end up being right, I'm going to be like, yeah. Okay, I'm ready. Doge. Last one, guys.
Elon Musk and the Doge team tackling fraud in Social Security, vowing to end schemes that are draining taxpayer dollars.
As the saying goes, the wheels of justice turn slowly but surely. And I think probably the person that stole 400,000 Social Security numbers, at least, maybe more, will be arrested hopefully this week.
Hopefully.
In 21, you see 270,000 people. Goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
We went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident.
All right, Valor CEO and Doge volunteer Antonio Gracias, the guy you just saw, was just with Musk in Wisconsin over the weekend. He joins us from the North Lawn. Antonio, good morning to you.
Good morning, Steve.
That's a jaw-dropping number. Where'd all those
Why
people
are we
come
watching Hitler? Because it's important, bro. It's important to watch
It
Hitler.
made my jaw drop too when I saw it.
It's history in the making.
We were in Social Security looking for fraud, waste, and abuse. And to do that, we actually looked at the enumeration system, the system by which people get numbers in America. And we found that there were just about 5+ million of them that came to the country as illegals, were giving various forms of parole or allowed in the country, and then got through an automatic system, Social Security numbers, so they get into our benefit systems.
I know
We
one
tracked
personally.
that through and
so
found that
this
they
is
were on
true.
the benefit programs. And just because we were curious, we then looked to see if they were on the voter rolls. And we found in a handful of cooperative states that there were thousands of them on the voter rolls, and that many of them had voted.
Oh wow! But there's no
That's
election
crazy,
fraud. That doesn't
because
exist.
you cannot vote in a federal election, but I think in certain local elections you can. But once you get
Yeah,
a
it was
Social
hard for him to
Security
say
number,
that.
that helps you do a
Gracias.
lot of stuff. I know, Antonio, part of this started with a program from, I think, 2017 that got started, where if people came into the country and they were authorized to work, they would automatically give them a number. But, Elon was talking a little bit about how
Y'all gotta come with
400,000
wine or
Social
whiskey
Security
or
numbers were
something,
stolen. It was one person. What can you tell us about that?
That's an ongoing investigation, so I don't know how much I can tell you, but we did find, as we looked through the programs, a particular employee that had actually sent themselves Social Security numbers through their email for reasons we don't understand, but clearly nefarious.
Yeah, it does sound like it. So let me ask you this, Antonio. Have you figured out, you saw these millions of people, non-citizens, on the Social Security rolls. Did they get benefits?
Yes, we actually tracked them through the benefit programs. We found them in virtually all the benefit programs. And one statistic for you is we found 1.3 million of them on Medicare.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
Medicaid.
So what's going to happen to those people?
Look, we referred people that were registered to vote, which is a federal crime, and people that voted to ICE, to DHS, and to the DOJ. They've committed to prosecute. And I think it's super important to point out here that none of this would have happened without President Trump. I mean, President Trump had the courage to allow us to go across databases. He signed an executive order. It's never been done before, where agencies could talk to each other and databases could talk to each other. That allowed us to connect all this data to find these people across the system, across the benefit system, all the way to the voting records.
Yeah.
It really took a lot of courage.
Antonio, you're a
I
big
feel
shot
like this guy really
business
likes to say his name.
You know what you're doing
Antonio.
in your business. When you went in, I can't think of the last time somebody essentially audited the Social Security Administration, aside from the federal government. But, they've got all these kind of antiquated, crazy rules. Like, I know you uncovered millions of people over the age
Antonio,
of
I believe, is
120
Spaniard.
and just recently
I'm not mistaken.
kicked them off the rolls, right?
Yes, that's correct. We did an audit of the entire system, enumeration system for Social Security. And look, the reality is the people in the government know this. There are many, very good people that are helping us. We couldn't have found this stuff without them. We need them to point us in the right direction, and then we looked at the data. So, if you ask people the right questions, they will give you the answers, and they want to help.
Yeah. Antonio, exit question for you. Given all of the abuses you've already found and these people who are getting federal benefits who should not, do you have a price tag on how much you guys are saving the American taxpayer just from Social Security?
I mean, look, it's in the billions. You saw the fraud on the phone lines itself. That was about $1.5 billion. And I would guess at Social Security already we're north of $10 billion.
Okay. Well, the meter's
All right,
running.
that's it.
Antonio, thank you.
That video with the graph, you guys should really take the time and watch it. It's extremely informative and important to know that a lot of people came here illegally and have Social Securities. I personally witnessed that because the first 4 months of last year, I did direct marketing for Florida Blue under the ACA, and I actually had to go and talk to people in the streets to get them on the ACA. And a lot of people that came here illegally had Social Security numbers. So I personally can tell you that this is for real. And I have a family member who came here illegally, who got Medicaid, food stamps, and a Social Security number. Okay, so this is not like this is not bullshit. This is not like a lie. This is not like right-wing conspiracy. This is real. This actually is happening in real time. And if it wasn't for Doge, the Democrats would have just lied about it, hid it under the rug. What's what they know best, which is sad because just in the 1990s, Chuck Schumer and Pelosi were literally talking about Social Security fraud, and now they're defending it and they're protecting it. So that's really unfortunate that they, for some reason, got so corrupted that they even lost like what they even believed in. The reason why they came in, they completely forgot about it. And now it's funny enough, it takes billionaires like that and big tech guys to have to actually come in and actually do the job of what Congress and Senate are supposed to do, which is funny how that works. But yeah, we're supposed to tax the rich. Crazy. All right. So guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for supporting, subscribing, share with your friends. Anybody who wants an alternative to news. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a journalist. I'm just an average person that gives a shit about my country because I came from a third world country and I don't want this country to become a third world country. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is Mary Truth Talks. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok, Mary_Truths. Thank you and see you guys next time.